right? Then she should wait 10 days, and after 10 days, she should perform the salat. Get cleaned up and perform the salat. Now, yes.
What is the ruling on those Muslims who claim to be Salafis and claim to give the Salafi da'wah while hide their identities, and one cannot be sure who is behind this and that site, who translates what?
This is not correct. Those people who are behind this website, they need to make their case clear to the people. Who are we? If we claim that we follow the Salaf al-Salih, the Sahaba, Prophet ﷺ, the Sahaba radwanullahi alayhim, because the Salaf al-Salih are the righteous predecessors. And the righteous predecessors mentioned in the Hadith. Prophet ﷺ, he praised them. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, خَيْرُ النَّاسِ قَرْنِي ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُم. The best of the people are my people. Means the companion of Prophet ﷺ. And then those who would come after them. And those who would come after them. So the Salaf al-Salih, the righteous predecessors, are the Prophet ﷺ and his companions, alayhim, and those who came after them. So if we call to the methodology of the Salaf al-Salih, alayhim, then there is no need for us to be hiding behind names. We should not be hiding behind names, because this da'wah is upon clarity. Is upon clarity. You have to have clarity in your da'wah. You have to be clear. You can't just hide behind names and things like that, because if you do that, then you cast doubt around you. You cast doubt because people don't know who you are. So you have to make yourself clear, and if you are calling to the way of the Salaf al-Salih, make everything clear so that the people know who you are.
And then what is the ruling on someone who translates an article allegedly by Sheikh Ibn al-Uthaymeen without mentioning the source? And in this translation, he translates the religions are not thought. They are revelations by Allah. I thought Allah has only revealed one religion.
The translation, in order for a person to translate, first of all, he has to have the fear of Allah. This is number one. He has to have the fear of Allah. Number two, the person has to be proficient in both languages, in English and Arabic. If this is not the case, then it is not permissible for anyone to translate. And the other thing also, you have to have some knowledge, some background knowledge, because sometimes the people, they may translate an article from one of the ulama, and they may misinterpret what that sheikh meant by that statement. You see, so they misinterpret the statement of the sheikh, and they said Sheikh Ibn Baz said this, or Sheikh al-Uthaymeen said this, but in reality he didn't say that. So we have to be very careful, and if you translate something, it's always good to refer it to that sheikh. You say, Sheikh al-Allama ibn Uthaymeen, he said this, you read the Arabic, and then you translate. Or Sheikh Ibn Baz, he said this, and then you translate. This is how you do. So everything has to be in accordance with those guidelines. So if you're not going to give the reference where you translate this article from, then you're going to cause confusion. The people are going to know where you bring this from. But when you say, Sheikh al-Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, he said in his Majmu' al-Fatawa, page so and so. So when the people go to the Majmu' al-Fatawa of Sheikh al-Uthaymeen, they find the same kalam. So you are just a naqil. You're just you are conveying the statement of the sheikh from his book, and you translate it. But you have to give a reference. It's like what we're doing right now, where we are reading from the book collection of Abu Dawood Sistani, and we are reading the explanation of Sheikh al-Abbad. Now, we're reading the explanation of Sheikh al-Abbad, Hafidahullah. Now,
so what if something was translated from Arabic to Chinese.
Chinese, okay?
And then a Chinese person comes, does not know Arabic, but
Yes.
knows Chinese.
Yes.
And he wants to translate that Chinese translation of the Arabic into Malay, let's say. Can he do that?
It's wrong.
It's wrong.
You have to know the original language.
Mm.
Yes, you have to. Because if you don't know the Arabic is not like any other language. I'll give you an example. Now, in Arabic, the word taliq, for instance, the word taliq has two meanings. Taliq means divorce, and taliq means loose. Okay, if you don't know the language, how are you going to know which one is which? You understand? It's like English. Sometimes you can use remain, and sometimes you use stay. You don't use remain, right or wrong. So you have to know when to use this one and when you use that one. And sometimes the ulama, they use the language of the scholars. You understand? They use the language of the fuqaha. So if you don't have a background in fiqh, how are you going to understand the statement of the sheikh? You see? Or sometimes they use the language of the scholars of aqidah. Like mu'attil. Okay, mu'attil is going to look at it. Who's mu'attil? Mu'attil. Because mu'attil can mean different things. Okay, you can say ta'attalat as-sayyara, that the car broke down. But when you say mu'attila, you're not talking about those who broke down. No. You're talking about those who negate the attribute of Allah. So if you don't know, you have to know. Like when they talk about Sufiya, they use al-hululiyya. Okay, what is hulul? If you don't know what hulul is, how are you going to translate it? You see, wahdat al-wujud. What is wahdat al-wujud? Explain it. If you don't have knowledge and a background, then you're gonna destroy more than what you're gonna build. You see, yes, you have ikhlaas, you have zeal, jazakallah khair, but it's not enough. It's not enough. You have to be proficient. You have to know. You have to have background, because it's not easy to say Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah said this. What if you're lying on the Shaykh, or Shaykh al-Allama ibn Taymiyyah, or Shaykh al-Albani, or any of the ulama? You say Sheikh said this, but he didn't say that. Or you misquote the statement. So because the translation is not easy, So we have to take our time until we master it and we understand the language of the ulama. Because you're not, the alim is not a layman, a common person. When he speaks, he's going to use terms. So you have to know terms. Sometimes he uses terms in hadith. He said irsal. What is irsal? You don't know irsal. So you have to have a background in that. Sometimes he uses tamyir. What is tamyir? Sometimes he uses, for instance, al-Jahmiyyah. Who are Jahmiyyah? So you have to know. You have to have a little knowledge, a little history about also the language of the ulama. You have to know them. If you don't know that, please don't do it. Leave it to somebody else who can.
Is it permissible